This hourly segment is brought to you by Advanced Planning Advisors, bringing you Smart Money Talk with Mike Moylan and Rob Curvin, Saturday mornings at 6.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Among those that were invited guests of the President and the First Lady for the State of the Union address yesterday, recognized throughout the President's speech, one was an officer, Army Staff Surgeon Justin Peck, who, as Trump explained, near Raqqa last November, along with a brother-in-arms, Chief Petty Officer Kenton Stacy, were on a mission to clear buildings that ISIS had rigged with explosives so as to provide safe return for civilians to Raqqa. And his brother-in-arms, Justin Peck's brother-in-arms, Kenton Stacy, tripped an explosive and was severely injured, and Justin Peck saved his life and earned a Bronze Star in so doing, and that was proper recognition. That was another one of those really kind of powerful, emotional moments to see a young man like Justin Peck and to hear the story as told by the President of the United States about his heroism on the battlefield. And, of course, these are movies we like, too. So many great movies about heroic American soldiers. And there's another one that's recently been released called 12 Strong. This tells the story of Captain Mitch Nelson leading a special forces team in Afghanistan to develop a partnership with the Northern Alliance, take down the Taliban and its al-Qaeda allies. And we're pleased to have one of the actual special forces soldiers, one of the actual Green Berets portrayed in the movie 12 Strong. He is Bob Pennington. And Bob Pennington served the United States Army for more than 30 years, 26 of those years within the Special Forces Regiment that we know as the Green Berets. And by the way, he's portrayed by Michael Shannon in the movie, which is it's pretty good.
Not by Chris Hemsworth.
No. But Michael Shannon, he made his mark in Boardwalk Empire.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that.
And then Nocturnal Animals, and he's actually in The Shape of Water, which is this Academy Award.
I hate that movie.
It's a terrible movie.
Oh my
He's a good actor, though, so it's a pretty good compliment,
Nocturnal
I think.
Animal is good.
Yeah, I'd put to say he's an A-list actor these days, so that's pretty good. Bob Pennington, thank you so much for joining us, sir. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So are you satisfied with Michael Shannon portraying you, or were you going for Chris Hemsworth too?
No, I'm satisfied.
Okay.
I thought he did a very, very good job.
Well,
in my opinion.
Well, tell us the story and then how you think it translated on film.
Well, the movie itself catches the spirit of the Special Forces team, how we bond together. It is a close-knit brotherhood. For us, we had been together for several years. Even in the movie, there's a portrayal of the captain, Mitch Nelson, who's actually Mark Nooch, that he is actually pulled off the team and then replaced back on the team. And that is actually how it happened. Once the attacks went off and we were notified that we would be one of the teams, I was the detachment commander at the time, and I had only had about 8 guys with me in the headquarters element, or in the team element, and 2 of them had gone off to school. So when I was notified that I was one of the teams to go early, I said, well, the first thing I need a full team. Yeah. Give me my captain back, because he just left. I don't need to retrain another captain. He knows all the SOPs, the standing operating procedures, and it would be a perfect fit. And then I tried to get the other two guys who had gone off to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, to come back, and but they could not be replaced. They told them to just keep them there at the school. I think they were going through sniper school at the time. Mm-hmm. And then the headquarters element gave me three additional guys. So I had a full team, 12-man team, and Mark was the captain, and off we went.
Right. And your mission was to call in
So to speak.
airstrikes, but when I'm watching the movie trailer, it seems like you were doing a lot of fighting on horseback. How did that come to fruition?
Well, the actual mission wasn't just to call airstrikes. The mission itself was unconventional warfare, and within um, that task, your main objective is also to advise and assist. But the main thing they wanted us to do is to get on the ground and assess the situation because nobody knew what was going on the ground in Afghanistan. So they wanted to send a team in there, and we were the first to hit the ground. They wanted to send a team in there, assess the situation, see what the Northern Alliance had, what they were capable of doing, and then and constantly feed this information back to the headquarters. Well, it just so happened that as we were doing this, we were fighting along the way. Exactly. Now, of course, the movie itself is a fictional portrayal. The Afghans did ride on the horses. They did fight in combat on the horses. We rode the horses, but we were not actually in charges on the horses. But most of everything else you saw was pretty good. There's a scene in there where I actually injure my back, and that is absolutely true, and it happened just that way. The horses were very small. The stirrups were very short stirrups, and so my legs were, my feet were pushed up high, and so it put a strain on my back as I was riding.
Well, if you could, I mean, what's your, from your engagement with our erstwhile Afghan allies and your time in theater there, what's your prognosis for Afghanistan, particularly as we see an escalation of violence as recently as this weekend?
Yeah.
What's your prognosis for eradicating the Taliban and for our continued presence in Afghanistan?
Yeah, I mean, it's that country's been at war forever. The one thing we did wrong was as we pulled out, as the smaller forces pulled out that were actually engaged with the Northern Alliance forces, we sent in huge amount of forces and had been bogged down ever since. The Afghans are in a better place than they were before. I will tell you that. That is the truth. They need to continue and do what they're doing as far as the engagements with special forces, Green Berets, teaming up together. Dostum, who is now the first elected vice president, has continued the fight to the enemy. You're still going to try to get people to come in there as a safe haven because they've been doing it for years. I still think they're on the right path, but the path is smaller forces, Green Berets, attached with these teams, the Afghan teams, and also some of the militia, and to again set up positions where they can easily defend those positions and take the fight to the enemy.
What was the most harrowing tale or moment in your service there? Perhaps that's recounted in 12 Strong.
The BM-21 strikes were that was pretty amazing. I mean, they shot us with several rounds, several hundred rounds. I actually thought at that time we had lost a team who were up on the cliffs, which they actually do show in 12 Strong, and we thought we lost our Charlie element because we did something that no teams have ever done, and that was we decentralized down to 4 3-man teams and spread out through the battlefield, and that was something that had not been done, and I don't believe it had been done afterwards as well. So that was pretty harrowing in itself. And then the constant, we were in positions that we were on top of mountains that all the sides were completely mined except for the one entrance path that you had to come to, because you got to remember this whole country was mined back during the Russian invasion.
Mm-hmm.
And so there were mines everywhere. So everyone had to everyone had to be careful of where they were riding or walking or anything. The other part to that is also riding on those goat heels up in the mountains. You're traveling on a 18-inch trail on a horse that is wild, and our SOP was, hey, if he takes a stumble, you better shoot him, otherwise he's going to kill us.
He is.
So
I'm sorry.
The whole time you're thinking about this.
He is Bob Pennington. He's former Green Beret, 30 years of active duty service, 26 of those as Green Beret. He is portrayed by Michael Shannon in the movie 12 Strong, which just came out about a little less than 2 weeks ago. It's a Jerry Bruckheimer film, the same guy who produced Black Hawk Down.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a good flick. I haven't seen it yet,
It's
but
a
I
good
certainly
book,
will.
too.
Bob Pennington, thank you so much for your service to the country, and thank you so much for joining us this morning to talk about that service and this movie. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.